leader of the People's National Congress Reform and opposition leader Brigadier David Granger, has remained committed to the Guyanese people and his partnership in his vow to use legitimate means to compel President Donald Ramotar to hold local government elections in Guyana. This is evident in the fact that a number of party and partnership members have embraced and endorsed the leader's decision to up the ante in its campaign for local government elections.
Well, the issues don't affect the RDC directly. It comes back to what Joe was talking about, the local government structure, which affect the neighborhood democratic councils and the municipalities. They're under more or less a re-centralization plan, which is contrary to the intentions of our constitution, as Joe eloquently put it over. So it diminishes our capacity to provide the type of development we would like to see. So while the local government structure has been allowed to decay, the region has a problem where we want to see more devolution of powers to the RDCs and to relax the control the ministries have over them. But as I said, the most acute worry now is to revitalize the local government system at the NDC level and the municipality level. And that's urgently needed. This exercise is a very good exercise. I think it is long overdue, and local government, there's no excuse not to have the elections as early as possible.
Government is crumbling, has been crumbling since Donald Ramotar took over, and he refused to change some of the policies embraced by Barra Jagdeo. Policies which were not in the best interest of the bulk of Guyana. Policies which were orchestrated in conditions of darkness. And now that we are here, the APNU is here, we are going to bring these things to light so that our people can understand that we will not accept this kind of hypocrisy anymore. We have behind us here what is known as a cabinet meeting, but to my mind that's no longer a cabinet, that's a glass case, because there are broken glasses inside here. All of these broken projects represent broken promises to the Guyanese people. They represent an assault on the assets and the resources of this country, and we will not stand up and allow it to continue. We are calling on all Guyanese to stand up to this regime. Stand up. This is your right. Stand up. It is a united opposition, and the calls are not different in any way. Local government is a constitutional requirement. The no confidence motion is a motion that has been brought in the National Assembly because of our belief that this government, we have no confidence in this government to do all of the things. One of the things we are saying that they cannot do and they are not going to do or they're not doing is the holding of local government elections. So they are not two separate things. Local government elections is but one other nail in the coffin of this government in the failure to bring local democracy to our communities. Our communities are suffering. Our communities are getting rotten because of this rotten government.
What we demand?
Local government election.
What we demand?
Local government election.
Oh, when?
Right now.
When?
Right now.
When?
Now.
When?
Right now.
When?
Now.
What we demand?
Local government election.
What we demand?
Local government election.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
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 The Brigadier had written to Guyanese Head of State Donald Ramotar on the 9th of September 2014, calling for him to name a date for the holding of local government elections by Monday, September 15, 2014. The Brigadier explains his reasons.
The time has come for all good people to demand their inalienable right to elect the persons they want to represent them in their towns, villages, and neighborhoods. President Donald Ramotar and the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration have tried every device to derail the legislative process and to delay local government elections. This includes denying assent to 2 local government bills that were duly passed by the National Assembly and declining the commencement order to operationalize a 3rd. The President and his party have no interest in conducting local government elections. They have no intention of complying with the mandate of the National Assembly. They have no inclination to deepen local democracy. They have no incentive to respect the spirit and letter of our supreme law, the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
President Ramattar had maliciously claimed to not understand the brigadier's letter. To create public confusion, the president said that Mr. Granger needed to provide more clarity on exactly what it is that he wanted from government. This sort of farce and propaganda has obviously not worked. Therefore, the president's intention and master plan to once again pull the wool over the eyes of the Guyanese populace has failed miserably. Guyanese have heeded Granger's call by making their voices heard.
We, the people, must now take any and all lawful actions to defend our local democracy, to uphold the Constitution, and to secure our civil rights. We must combine the efforts, energies, and enterprise of the entire nation in our campaign to restore local democracy to Guyana. We, the people, must work together through renewed municipal and neighborhood councils to make our homes, villages, and communities safe, sanitary, pleasant, and prosperous for ourselves, our children, and the old folk. Our quality of life will not improve unless we stand up against the further decline and degradation of our communities and stand up for our democratic institutions and values. The demand for local government elections is a national necessity, a common cause. It is not a partisan project. We, the people, deserve a good life. We demand that the president respect the Constitution of Guyana.
As APNU intensifies its campaign for local government elections, residents from various communities countrywide are on board, as they too are fed up of the state of their communities.
On behalf of the farmers, because without water, we can't plant food. And we can get enough empty barrels for the next election, because the $5,000 note already in place. Can't build the city of Rome anymore. So, with the statue at Carifesta, the way how I see it is repatriation is a must. And if you're going back to grassroots, you gotta go water in order to plant food. Not only for import, but export. Because we have a lot of deportees, people that get sent back from foreign countries with experience. So it's just to put the theory and the logics into place to get the ball on rolling.
My main point tonight is the bridge that's going over to Bajiville Secondary. Because that bridge is terrible, we have children passing there every day to go to school. Vehicles too, if at one time it collapsed.
There's a terrible economic situation in this country. And like the young man said, every day you can hear dialogue, 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 dialogue. And we are getting nowhere.
Meanwhile, APNU campaign director Winston Felix says he is disgusted with the state of our communities.
The partnership is on a part of restoring local democracy to the people of Guyana through the holding of local government elections in the 65 NDCs and 6 municipalities. We knew that from 1997 that local government elections have not been held in this country, and in so doing, the municipalities and the NDCs are at their weakest. So we need to revitalize these institutions to ensure that they serve the people of the communities and municipalities in a way that ensures that their communities are properly administered, that their drains are cleared, their bridges are constructed, that their markets are repaired, and that life in the community is properly administered.
Felix went on to point out that more than local government elections are required to restore communities.
In our demands, we are saying also that we're not just calling for local government elections. but local government elections with the reforms which are necessary to ensure that the local government, the local authorities and municipalities are properly empowered to pursue their mandate. This is what the PPP government does not seem interested in having, because they've refused to assent to the bill which requires or which calls for the holding of local government elections. And in other instances, they have not. The minister responsible has not ensured that the bills, though assented to, is given the efficacy they ought to have.
Despite this massive campaign by David Granger and APNU, the PPPC government continues to peddle propaganda dismissing the success of APNU's local government campaign. However, the brigadier had this to say about the process thus far.
We are convinced that what we are doing is the right thing. Local government elections have been examined, discussed. We've received advice over the last 12 years from the time of the Joint Task Force on Local Government Reform. This matter came before the National Assembly, the 4 bills. We know that the diplomatic corps came out in our support. We know that civil society came out in our support. We know that the trade unions came out in our support, and we know that the demand for local government elections have brought about a change in people's understanding and attitude towards local government elections. To start with, this is a constitutional matter. It's not something optional that the government can postpone. The other thing is that we are producing a new generation of leaders. We're producing young people, and they will do their apprenticeship. They will learn to manage their own communities in the councils, the neighborhood councils, and in the municipal councils before they graduate to the regional councils and the National Assembly. So it's a vital institution, and we are convinced that history is on our side, we are convinced that the masses are on our side, and we are convinced it's the right thing. Our constitution calls for what is called inclusionary democracy, and this is the best means of ensuring that there is inclusionary democracy at the level of the community. This is real democracy. This is giving people in community power to determine their canals, their cemeteries, their roads, their street lights, the drainage and irrigation problems, solid waste management problems. You can't have something more democratic than what we're doing. So I'm convinced that this is the right thing, and this is good for Guyana.
The brigadier went on to point out that our national constitution is being violated, as he believes that people of goodwill will continue to join the movement to call for local government elections. Thus far, the partnership has organized and coordinated this movement in about 8 regions, and the opposition leader has indicated that the international communities have been informed about this breach of Guyana's constitution.